How's it going? My name is Brent from Encore PPF and Tint, and today I'm going to show you how to tint the windshield on a 2025 Toyota Camry. This is an XSE model, and we're going to be installing an Autobahn I3 ceramic onto this windshield. The kit was cut out with Core. Just make sure you do your measurements with these windshields in Core, because they are going to have multiple options in there, and you want to make sure you're cutting out the right one. The important part to measure on this windshield was the width of that whole mirror section up there, the width on that of the blackout. So we measured that on the top of it and then on the bottom of it, and we were able to then decide which pattern it was in the computer. Excuse me. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started on this. So first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and wipe the window down and put the bounce pad on there, and then we'll get our pattern on there, heat shrink it, and then we'll get on the inside and put down our dash protector, and then we'll go ahead and install that film on there. So let's get moving. All right, so we've got some water on there. We'll go ahead and wipe this down now. Sometimes you can immediately follow that up with the bounce pad, but it's drying off of there pretty quick. So let's get this all wiped down, and then we'll get a mist on there. If there's enough moisture left on the glass afterwards, after drying it off, so you can come right back afterwards and just hit it with the bounce pad. But this is drying up pretty quick. I only put a light mist. All right. I go over this a couple times just because I'm really trying to spread out all that moisture and help that dry out quicker, so we don't have like any drops in one spot that's going to take a long time for it to dry. All right, let's get the other side. Okay. Great. We'll just wait for that to dry, and then we'll get our film on here and get started. While that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and install the dash protector. Okay. For this, I'm going to be using one of these slammer tools. Let's go ahead and get this guy off the glass. And then you'll just want to make sure wherever that was on there, when you pull it off, it didn't leave any adhesive. It looks like it came off really cleanly. Just gonna scrubby pad over the top of that, see if I can feel any adhesive left behind, and it feels really good. Nice and smooth, so I don't think we left any adhesive. Great. Okay. So I'm just gonna set that in the back seat for now. And then we'll go ahead and put this in place. So what I like to do with this is fold these two ends over together. That way I can find the center. Then we're gonna put this right in the middle of the windshield, which on this one has this line right, or this arrow right here. So we know that's the middle. And then with this tool, just kind of start pushing this down in. And I like to keep, you want to keep this stuff fairly tight coming across so that you don't have like a bunch of waves in it. Otherwise that stuff gets in the way of the glass when you're trying to put the film in there. Okay, I'll get that in all the way. Get that tucked way back in there for that corner. And then we can let that kind of come out like that. And that's going to be about as good as we're going to be able to get everything out of the way there. This stuff is going to be in a little bit in the way for this vehicle, and we can work with that. All right, just tucking that down in there below the dot matrix in between the windshield and the whatever that thing's called. Dashboard. All right, and then we'll get this to go way back in there. So you want to get that very edge, because when the water goes down, it can travel down back in there, and you want to get that tucked way back in there. Okay, and then we'll have it come back down again. Oh, you know what? I think on this side, I'm going to try pushing all of that in, and then I'm going to push this down in here like that, and that fits really good. All right, well, that gets the red out of the way, even though we are going to have this cloth here is going to be a little bit in the way down there. But I think that looks better than the other side. And that is a little bit wavy. Sometimes you can get this stuff to tuck down in there. Just push it down in and get it to the bottom to go down in a little bit further, and that'll help this stuff go down. It does get in the way a little bit like that from time to time. All right, great. Let's see actually if we can get this all to go down in there. Looks like we will, so I'll go ahead and push that down with the tool later when we get back in there. Make sure that that's pushed down as much as possible and out of our way off the glass. Awesome. All right, let's get our pattern on here. So we'll give that edge, very edge, a little mist, this edge a little mist for our H pattern, and we'll take this over and set it in place. All right, so I want to get this to kind of go, make a U right there in the middle, which it doesn't really want to do today. Yeah, it definitely doesn't want to do it. All right, well, that's gonna have to be good enough for right now. We'll get this side. Yeah, I really want it to make that U shape here. Come on, baby, work with me. There it goes. All right. We'll go ahead and get this side laid into place, and then we'll let this well then. That didn't need to be quite that difficult, but it was. Sometimes that goes on really easy. Normally it does. Otherwise I find a different way to do it. Okay, so let's come back this way, because the whole pattern moved over just a little bit. I don't know if you can tell there, but I got some water. The pattern curled around on itself from the water from sticking up on the peel board. Got out here in the middle, but that's no big deal at all. Okay, let's dry some of that off, and let's go ahead and do our H pattern now. Get my Bondo card, and we'll go ahead and lift this up and bring this right down the middle, keeping some decent little tension on it. And then let's push these fingers to the top and bottom, and then we can go ahead and push that stuff, tack it down. Okay, same thing over here. Bring this across. You want to do that right in the middle. Push the fingers out, top and bottom, and then mount the film to the glass. There we go. Let's wipe off all the excess water from the peel board. That way we get a good shrink on this, nice and even, because those areas that have the water on them, they're not going to want to shrink the same, because the water is going to stop the heat from getting to the film. All right, let's grab our heat shrinking glove here and our heat gun. Make sure we're turned all the way up. Make sure that you don't have anything poking out here or metal that could scratch the A-pillar. And then we'll go ahead and start shrinking this. Okay, work our way over. Let's get this side up a little bit higher so that it's kind of even with the middle. And then right after I heat this, I go ahead and push it down. It's kind of hard. I mean, it's harder to see the fingers when you're working on a windshield because the film is so light usually compared to the rear window. Just keep that in mind. It's just something you get used to working with when you have to do windshields. I love having my windshield tinted in my car, but I hate tinting windshields. It's just all that extra step of, you know, getting the make sure that, you know, you're not damaging any electronics or anything. I like a tinted windshield when I'm in the car, but I don't like tinting them. Great, so I'm just heating up those edges a little bit more, make sure everything's staying down. Let's go ahead and take this down now. This film shrinks so good. This is the Autobahn I3 ceramic. Uh-oh. Something's coming apart right here a bit. Yep. After a while, these extension cords start to go bad and you have to replace them because this gets real loose here. And it doesn't want to hold the plug in. Okay, let's take these all the way down. All right, let's tighten up this bottom edge. Okay, great. Just waiting for those fingers to start going from up to sideways like that, and then you can push those out. And different films will heat shrink differently. Like I said, this film shrinks incredibly well. It really, that's a huge bonus when you're working on really difficult windows, or even, I mean, windshields get more difficult, I think, than a lot of back windows. And so this is, you know, it's nice to have this film heat shrink so well on a windshield, or Tesla Model 3 back window. All right. Okay, and you can see there's a big finger here on the side, and we're just going to keep heating it up, and then once it starts to turn this way, you need to push it out and need to get it back going this direction. Okay, now what we don't want is for it to connect to the side here and then keep popping up like this. So I'm gonna hold that down while I do the heat shrink. We'll see how this goes. This is gonna be a little bit of a headache. Okay, I'm getting the film pretty warm now. Let's get this middle down and then work our way back up over here. Okay, and then I'll go over this, make sure everything is pushed down really well. So I'm holding this side down here to make sure that it doesn't pop up while I'm putting heat on it, because if it pops up while I'm putting heat on it, we're gonna burn that edge really quickly. Okay, and so if I lay that down, it looks very good. But it's popping up because I got a little bit of heat on this edge, and this edge actually can't stay stuck down because the pattern is too far this way, and I have about 1/4 inch of extra material on the side of the pattern that's bumping into the rubber here, and so it's not allowing it to stay stuck down. Otherwise that would stay stuck down right now. But you just want to make sure when you push it out that it all lays down nice and flat, and then you're good. All right, let's go ahead and get this hung up on the glass over here. You want to make sure those edges are staying stuck down because they will curl and roll off potentially. This edge is going to have a little bit of a tough time because I did get a little bit of heat on it because it wasn't fully stuck to the glass. So that means I probably put a little bit of heat on this edge, and it's going to want to curl up now because of that. This side where it was laying down nice and flat, we don't have that issue. All right, now we can go ahead and remove or weed the excess out of here. And you'll just want to be careful back in here. Make sure that film doesn't tear off the wrong direction. If it catches a spot that didn't get cut all the way through or anything like that. Great. All right, we want to make sure that all these edges are stuck down really good so this doesn't just curl up and come off the glass. And we are going to go ahead and reverse roll this right now and then take it in with us. And what I like to do is cut this center section out when they're so big like this. And I think just most of the time, cut this section out. So stay within about 1/4 inch or less than 1/4 inch to the actual tint pattern. That'll just help with the install, because obviously we need that section open. Otherwise the liner is going to be running all up into the rearview mirror area. Okay, so let's go ahead, holding that in place with my fingernails so it doesn't curl off. I'm going to pull this back just a little bit past halfway here. Great. And let's get this laid back on. And we'll pull this side back. Wet everything down. Get some moisture on this edge so we can go ahead and reverse roll this, California roll, whatever you want to call it. So I'm basically curling this over, making it into a circle, and then I'm pulling back on it and making it good and tight. That way we don't have a real fat roll. It's harder to unroll that inside. Okay, so most of the time the film will start bunching up like this and it'll run itself out in front of the roll. Sometimes you'll have to push that further ahead to keep it from like going into the roll there where you're rolling it up, and then sometimes it will work real well with you and not do that without pushing it forward. Kind of just depends on really how much soap you have in there. The more soap you have in there, the easier that's just going to continue to glide forward ahead of the roll. But see how when you push it like that, you can just push it out. Okay. All right, great. Let's get this set in the car. Let's get our soapy water set right there. Let's get rid of this one. Let's grab our install tools. All right, I'm gonna set these in the passenger seat, and then this I'm gonna just set right back here, and actually we'll tuck it right in here between the seat and the armrest to keep it from unrolling. All right, so let's get in here and clean this window. All right, we'll get a good mist on there, and then we'll scrub this whole windshield down. I'm just double checking down there to make sure that we got everything pushed down enough, since I did alter that without using this tool here. And it's looking pretty good. So I'm squeegeeing across this, when I'm scrubbing this, I'm kind of feeling for the scrubby pad to catch on anything a little bit. And it'll be very minor, right? But it should be gliding freely across the entire windshield. Shouldn't run into areas where you feel it snag just a little bit, or you can hear it sometimes. And then that will help tell you whether there's something on the glass that's gonna need some more attention than just a scrubby pad. On older windshields, I do from time to time razor blade the whole windshield, although it's time consuming. And on new cars, it's not really necessary. Unless something like an oil change sticker or the sticker from the dealership, the registration sticker thing, leaves a little bit of adhesive, I will hit that with the razor blade if necessary. All right, let's go ahead and squeegee this all out. So we're gonna go ahead and start at the top, go down the one side like that, and then we're just gonna start bringing this stuff across. And we'll go down, and I'm gonna start on this side and just keep going down until we get below, just below the rear view mirror area. And I mean, it's nice that with these newer rear view mirror areas that there's so much crap up there that that it's such a big area, so you're not just having to like remove just the mirror and work around it. You can just go ahead and go around the whole thing, where you're not just taking the mirror off and then you've got to cut around just the part where the mirror is connected to the windshield. You don't have to worry about those so much anymore on most cars, because they've got these huge areas. So you can see at the end there on this pass, I'm kind of turning the squeegee and going down, and that's so I can get it way back in there. If you're squeegeeing like this, which I will do quite often, you're gonna run into this panel here before you can get this squeegee all the way back in there. But eventually we're gonna have to turn the squeegee around, because I'm not going to be able to do this closer to the bottom. Let's go ahead and start that now. Okay, so we're still pulling the water across the windshield. Every time the squeegee comes off, I wipe the squeegee off. Okay, now we're getting really close to the bottom there, so I'm gonna take the squeegee, I'm gonna wipe my whole hand off here. I'm gonna wipe the squeegee off, and now we're gonna push across. All right, one more all the way at the bottom. There's also some other tools that we can use at the very bottom. All right, and then let's get all this pushed out. All right, all the way down there, and then come up the side a little bit and get all that stuff pushed out over the edge. You can also take this tool here, the side swiper, swipe him all off. And then let's get this very bottom pushed down or squeegeed out. Great. Okay. The other thing I like to do around these when it comes to this third brake light area is I like to wipe the plastic down a bit in case we bump into it a little. And then that also helps me push up underneath it just a tiny bit to get any excess water that might decide it wants to run down from there. Okay, let's go ahead and get a mist on this. Great. And and go ahead and get our pattern. Okay, there we go. We've exposed the glue. I'm gonna go ahead and get way down on the seat here so I can reach all the way over to the other side. Don't let the pattern run into the roof here. Okay. So I want that bottom corner, looks like it's a little bit dry, so I'm gonna add just a little bit more moisture down there. So we don't want it to be sticking to the glass at all, or, you know, not move. We want it to be moving fairly freely down there. Okay, and then once we get that pushed down a bit, we can get this thing laid into place over on this side. Okay, hang on. Let's get another tool here, and let's try to get that whole piece down there onto the glass. Perfect. You need to get back on the glass up here. And try not to run into this panel on the side at all with the pattern, because that will pick up some dirt or dust off of that thing, potentially. Okay, once we get it over plenty far enough, let's go ahead and start working our way out across the windshield now. I'm just gonna unroll this, tuck that in, tuck that in. Okay, let's get rid of this liner now because it's starting to get in the way around this third brake light. Perfect. Okay. All right, so what I did there now is put some of the excess out in the middle so we can get away from this edge. That way we can get the film fully rolled out like this without bumping into this. Oh, that didn't tuck in as nice as I would have liked, but it's gonna be fine. You know, every time I get the camera out, it's like, that didn't go perfect. Perfect would have been good. Okay, so let's make sure. A lot of times when you're moving this whole pattern over and rolling this, you're gonna pull it off that side again. So we just need to make sure that everything's lined up correctly and that we have good coverage all the way around the mirror and then all the way around the edges. I'm kind of just filling up here for where the edge is. We need to go up just a tiny bit. Great, that's looking really good. Let's check this bottom out. Let's run this stuff all the way down into the corner there. Okay, and then let's check this side and the bottom. Okay, great. We have good positioning there. Put a mist on there. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of some of these bigger air pockets, just like I do on the rear windows. Okay, great. That's about as good as we're gonna be able to get that, a little bit more. Okay, let's get our Blue Max. Now this first one, it's just gonna be a little bit more gentle. We're just trying to get rid of all the air and water. And the water, just the tiny thin layer, right? We're not trying to get rid of all of it. And actually, I don't like to take this all the way over past the edge there. I like to stop about this far from the edge. So we're gonna stop right there. And what that allows the film to do is it allows the water to run down and run out and go out the bottom instead of pushing it all the way out the side, because we don't know exactly what it's going to do when it gets over there. If it goes onto the A pillar down in there and then runs down, it could go somewhere else. So what we want is all that moisture as much as possible to run here down and go into our towel there on the bottom, our soak rope. Okay. And then we'll go ahead, squeegee all this out. So taking this stuff down again. All right, now squeegee this part up. We'll squeegee all this stuff out to about, a few inches of the edge there. See all that water running down? It's keeping it from going back in there. We don't know where it's gonna go. So we can control it by having it go down out the bottom. Then I take this and gently push this down. Like that. Let's go ahead now. Put one more mist on here. And we'll go ahead and put a ton of pressure on this now. Make sure to do good overlapping strokes. Okay, we'll work our way down now. Alright, great. And then we'll take this bottom part straight down and out. And I have another tool that we'll use down there, side swiper, to get that bottom really good. A lot of cars, it's going to be hard to get that bottom. Okay, so you can see on the second pass, we're going all the way out to the edge. And that's because majority of that water we already got rid of. On the bottom, got it pushed out towards the bottom. Now there's just a very thin layer in there. Okay, let's go ahead and grab our side swiper, which is right here, and get all the rest of this pushed down. And then if it's a little dry like it is right now, we're gonna go ahead and get a little bit more of a mist on there. So we don't want to bunch this film up on the bottom. We want the tool to be sliding across it really well. Okay. Up and out the sides. Even gonna do the top with this tool in the dot matrix area. This really helps get those dot matrix areas really dry. Okay, so I'm getting way back underneath the plastic there. Just great. Okay, fantastic. We'll go ahead and clean this up now. I'm just gonna wipe the window down a little bit here, and then we'll get the soak rope out of there, and then we'll give it a really good wipe down. Let's go ahead and pull this out. Just make sure it doesn't bunch the film up in those corners. All right, great. And you want to pull that out before you clean the bottom edge, because it's just going to put, when it comes out of there, it's going to hit the tint and leave marks, dirty marks on the bottom. All right, let's wipe this all down. The other thing you can do around the third brake light is take your Bondo card and get up underneath there and push that out. That's good practice on those edges down there too, so you can get way back in there where the squeegee and stuff doesn't really like to fit. Okay. So now you just want to come out and check everything out, make sure you don't have, a bunch of water left anywhere or dirt, and then you just want to clean everything up, and this thing's ready to go. All right, terrific. Well, that was the process of installing window tint on this 2025 Toyota Camry windshield. So if you found something helpful, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.